Hello everyone, let's start solving this question. This is a second question of today's weekly contest 434. Okay, so the question is count mentions per user. You are given an integer number of users representing the total number of users and an array events of size n cross 3. So each events of I can be either of the following two types. So either message event or offline event. So if we see the offline event, so here you can see the size is 3 and the string first string is given offline, the second is the timestamp will be given, and the third is the ID. So this event indicates that the user ID I had become offline at timestamp I for 60 time units. The user will automatically be online again at the timestamp plus 60. Okay. So let's say at time 10 units, this user became offline. Then after the 60 plus 10, that means after 70 time units, it will again be offline. And what is the message event? Message event is here it will be this first will be the message, then we can say this is a message event, and the timestamp will be given and mention string. So this event indicates that a set of users was mentioned in the message at timestamp I, and the mention string can contain one of the following tokens, that is id number, where number is the integer in range from 0 to number of users minus 1. So it will be id 0, id 1, id 2, like that. So there can be multiple ids separated by a single white space and may contain duplicates. This can mention even the offline users. Okay, so and if it is either here, it will be mention string. In the mention strings, it can be IDs separated by the space, or it can be all. That means mention all users, and it can be here. Here means mention all online users. So that time we have to check what are the offline users. Okay, and only mention the online users. And what we have to return? We have to return an array mentions, where mentions of I represent the number of mentions the user with ID I has across all the message events. And all users are initially online. If a user goes offline or comes back online, their status change is processed before handling any message event that occurs at the same timestamp. Okay. And note that the user can be mentioned multiple times in a single message event, and each mention should be correct counted separately. Okay, so if we see this example, we have two users, and what are events? Events are like first is message 10 at timestamp 10, ID 1 and ID 2. That means in this at time 10 unit, ID 0 and ID 1 mention. Here we are mentioning this 2. So initially it will be mention array will be 1 and 1 because we are mentioning both. The next is offline. Who goes offline? ID 0. Okay, so ID 0 will go offline at time 11 unit. So again the next event is message. So we have to mention here. Here means whatever the number of users who are online, we have to mention them. Who is offline? 0. Online means 1. 1 is online. So we will here. Okay. Again, the thing we here it is, you can see this event indicates the user ID I had become offline at timestamp I for 60 time units. The user will automatically be online again at time. So here you can see at 11. Okay, at 11 time it goes offline. Again at 71, if we check, okay, what we are going to check? 11 plus 60. If it is what? This is what? 71. So again our this 0 id user has become online. So here means whatever online ids online users are there, we have to mention that. So already one is online, 0 was offline, but at 71 timestamp it came again online. So here you can see 2 2, so we will mention both. If this is the second example, there are three events and two users. First is message 10, ID 1, ID 0. So first we will mention both ID, both users at time 10, and at 11, 0 goes offline. That means this second user, first user will be offline. And at time 12, we have to mention all. If all it is given, we have to mention all the users irrespective of its status, either online or offline. So we are getting here answer 2 and 2, because we are mentioning again all the users. We are not checking if it is online or offline. And if you see the third example, two events are given and two number of users are there. Initially, all are online, but first event is offline. At time 10, 0, that means first user goes offline. And at time 12, here means what, whoever the users, okay, whatever the users are online, that we will mention. So here you can see at time 10, our first user went offline, and it will again come back online at what time? Plus 60. That means at 70, at time 70 it will come back online. But if you see this is the 12, so it will be offline only. And here message, this string here, that means only we have to mention the online users. So only online user is the first one. So here we can see 0 and 1. This is the our answer. So first thing is, okay, first what we need is we have to sort our this events, okay, these events use by timestamp. And if my timestamp are same, okay, that time what I want, first I want to mention and then go offline. Okay, so if we see here, uh, here if we see, okay, message timestamp and message string. So first, if my time is same, okay, then first I want what, I want to mention there, and then offline. Okay, so we will start this event according to that. Okay, now now next thing is, if we get what, here you can see we have two type of event. One is message and one is offline event. So in mention, what we will check is, if we get what, three choices, three options, or you can say three different things we can get, is either we'll get a IDs or all, or here. If we have all, then mention all users. And if we have here, then mention online users. And if we have IDs, then directly we can mention that ID users. Okay, now and for offline, what we can do is directly we can make them offline. Okay, let's say here we can get IDs, right? So we will do what, we will do offline them. Okay, let's say this ID is there, so we'll give that time. Okay, so we are going to do this offline. Here you can see offline timestamp and ID. Okay, and here this event indicates user ID had become offline at timestamp 60 time. The user will automatically be online again at the. So this we were when we have to check 60 here. Okay, mention online users, but again we have to check time plus 60. If my offline, if my one of the user is offline, okay, then we will check its time plus 60. If it is less than or equal to our time, then we can say it came again online, and we will again make this offline. Let's say we are going to use a array offline of that ID, that user, will make it as a 0. Okay, so if it is 0, we can say this is our this is online. Okay, um, now let's start coding. Is first we have number of users. We will take two arrays. One is offline. Okay, track offline. We can say track offline is equal to new int what number of users, right? That many number of users. At what time that user like went offline. And if it is 0, then we can say it is online. If it is a number, then we can say it is offline at that timestamp. And then we can later check using that number. Let's say at t10, it went offline, then plus 60 we will check at 70. If we have the T71, we can say it came online, and we will make its value 0. Now we will write mention. This is what we have to return, mentions. Okay, because here in the question it is given written in array mentions, where mentions of I represent the number of mentions. Okay, here same number of users. Now first what we want to sort this. Okay, collections dot sort, first pass. Now we have to pass the comparator, right? So let's say we have a comma b, and here you can see it is a string. Okay, list of list string. Then if I want to sort using this, okay, and that means what I need to take a and b. Let's say this is my a and this is my second is b. So a dot get of 1, then we'll get the timestamp, and we have to convert it to integer because it is a string. If my integer dot parse int a dot get 1, okay, equal to, if it is same, integer dot parse int b dot get 1, that means time is same. Okay, if both are equal, this I'll write like this. Okay, just here. If my integer dot parse, if both are equal, then b dot get of what, this message and offline get of 0, compare to a dot get of 0. Okay, now else what, else I want in a ascending order. A dot integer dot parse int a dot get 1 minus integer dot parse int b dot get of 1. Okay, now this will sort our events, list event. Okay, using here first we checked if both are equal, then we want to sort by this message or offline. Else, okay, that means the timestamp is different, then we want ascending, that is why we have written like this. If you want a descending, there you will write b and e. Okay, now what we will do is we will traverse each event. I is equal to 0, I less than events dot length. It is events dot length I plus plus. Okay, now in each event, okay, we will check if my events dot get I, okay, get I dot get 0. That means what I will get is this first thing, either message or offline. Then I will check if it is equals to message. Okay, then what we have to do, else if my this event, okay, if it is equals to offline, then what I have to do. So these are two different choices. We will write a method for this, and we will return a what, our this mentions array. Okay, now we'll write a method like for message, we'll write a mention user, and we'll pass what, event dot get I, we'll pass that, and we'll pass offline, track offline and we'll pass message. Okay, message, not mention, sorry, mentions. If it is a message, we are writing it as a mention. Okay, and similarly we'll write a method for, we'll write of user. Okay, offline user, we can just say like this also, and here we will pass the same thing. Now First we'll write the offline user. That's a void my this method, and it will accept first is list of string. Okay, so it will be what event. I'll write event only, and two arrays. That is, one is track offline, and one will be my mentions. Okay, so same method we have to write for is for mention user. Okay, now first write the offline user. In offline user, okay, first let's say we got this thing. Okay, now we know this is offline, that is why we are here in this method. Okay, so first take the time. Into time is equal to integer dot parse int. As it is a string, we are using this integer dot parse string. What? Event dot get 1. Then we'll get the time. Now here we'll get the id. Int id is equal to integer dot parse int event dot get 2. Okay, here in the offline, wait, in the offline, the number is an, okay, there can be multiple ID, but here it is not given, right? The user automatically be online. Okay, but here the multiple ID is not given. So we can say directly we are getting the ID. Okay, now for this ID, we have to make this as a time. So track offline of this id will make this as a time. Okay, so we will say this user id has went offline at this time. Okay, so basically we are doing this. Now in mention users, same thing, first we'll get the time, but here we have what, here multiple users. Here you can see there can be multiple ids separated by a single white space. May contain duplicates. This can mention even offline users. Okay, here in this mention string. So we will use a string this. You can say IDs is equal to what? Event dot get to dot split with what? With space. Then we'll get the multiple IDs. Now for string ID of IDs. Okay. Now we got our ID. We have ID. We have a time. Now we will check if my this is about ID. Now wait, where we were example, let's say message 10 and IDs. This means of course we are mentioning that thing, and we have to mention these two IDs. Okay, so we will check if my ID dot equals to all. It can be all, right? Or else if my id dot equals to here, and again here we'll write else. So these are three different possibilities. Either it will show all, that means we have to mention all the user. So how we will mention all the user is we will use a loop for int I is equal to 0 to I less than mentions dot length I plus plus, and here what we will do, mentions of I plus equal to 1. Okay, so we are mentioning all this. If here, okay, if my id dot equals to here, that means we have to check offline. Here we have written, right, somewhere that mention online users. So we have to check my it is offline. Okay, if it is not offline, that means online. If my track offline, wait, if my track if my track offline of this I, okay, not I, this ID, wait, this ID will be what? If my track offline of what, we have to check if that is okay, not this. We have to do the same thing here. Loop. We'll use the loop, and in that we will check each for each user, right? Because here we are not given user only here, right? So here we will check if my track ID of I, if it is equal to 0, that means that user is online. So we will do this thing. Okay, and again we will check else if my track offline of I plus 60, if it is less than or equal to my time. Okay, here that we have time, that means it came back online. So we will do the mention of this, and again what we will do, we'll update its track offline of this I, it will be 0, that means it is again online. Okay, and at the end else, in the else what we will get is this number. Okay, either I'll get here all or this number, and anyway we are separating this. Okay, we are splitting this by this space, so at a time we'll get this id1 or id0. So we have to extract this number from this string. So what we will do is int id is equal to integer dot parse int. Okay, what is there? Okay, so let's not use this id. Here I'll say I. Okay, id dot substring of 2. That means you'll get the last element. So integer dot percent, so I'll get 1 or 0, and I have to mention of this I plus equal to 1. Okay, and at the end we are okay. Here we are not returning. Here we are returning. Okay, so what we did, we wrote two different methods, that is mention user and okay events dot length. Where is the events dot length? We have used it. Yeah, here it should be size, right? Because it is a list. So we are first sorting, and then we are checking if my this is message or offline. Offline means we are going directly and making this as a offline. Okay, and for this message we are checking all, like different cases like all, here, and only IDs, and accordingly we are changing, okay, the or updating the our mentions array. That is our answer. So you can see our solution got accepted. And yeah, if you feel this video is helpful to you, please like this video and subscribe my channel. Stay updated. Thank you so much for watching.